What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. Before I get started with today's reaction video, yes, it's another one. I just want to give a shout out to those who have recently subscribed to my channel, as well as those who are continuing to check out the content that I've been dropping. I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. And trust me, y'all, I'm doing my best to get out this content. Every time when I think there's a story or something that I want to cover or do a video on, I get a little hyped about it. So again, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has checked out my channel, everyone who's left comments, and everyone who's subscribed thus far. I thank you. So continuing on, like I said, today's video is going to be another reaction one. This is in reference to the recent Harvey Weinstein case, or should I say the lack of coverage of the Weinstein case. I believe some charges against him were recently dropped in New York. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but in the case of this reaction video, I am going to take a look at Brother Harvey from Your World. Shout out to him. Again, he's dropping this amazing coverage, and as I do this video, he just dropped another one, and I believe he's talking about Jerry Seinfeld. So again, shout out to this brother and fair usage for his video, fair usage. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into it right about now. Let me get my screen shared. Okay, now we want to move slow. Okay, my apologies, y'all. Just one brief moment while we get this going here. All right. All right. So again, shout out to Harvey from Your World. And again, this is fair usage for his video, fair usage. Let's listen to the man.
When it was announced that the New York Supreme Court was overturning Harvey Weinstein's conviction, I was curious to see how Hollywood would react and how the media at large would react. And it pretty much went the way I thought it would. They would mention it, but not really mention it. And in some ways, they would try to hide behind it was a Friday news dump story because the news broke on Friday. And basically, they would probably say, well, we really don't want to talk about this because the Me Too movement had its moment. But the thing is that we still hear R. Kelly jokes. We
Right.
still hear Bill Cosby jokes. We still see Tarana Burke go around making appearances, or she get interviews, and usually they mention black men more than anything. Matter of fact, just a few weeks ago when Diddy compounds was searched, Joy Reid made sure she stopped talking about Trump and what's going on in Gaza in Israel to sit down with Torre, who was accused of being disrespectful to women, to sit down to talk about Diddy. But she didn't stop and say anything about Harvey Weinstein. She made sure she made reference to R. Kelly. Matter of fact, you very rarely hear them talk about Harvey Weinstein. If anything, you've heard R. Kelly be referenced, Bill Cosby referenced. When they talk about any other case, you don't hear Danny Matheson name brought up. You don't hear Les Moonves, any of these white men who've been accused. You don't hear Matt Lawler name brought up. You don't hear nothing. You don't hear Louis C.K. You don't hear none of this.
And just allow me to stop it right there. Now, Harvey, again, shout out to him. He's been talking about this for years, and there's always a difference in the coverage. When it comes to powerful white men, it's talked about in the news, but then it's shoved off to the side. Whereas if it's a powerful black man, the coverage is different. It'll be a worldwide story. Such as when he mentioned R. Kelly and when he mentioned when he mentioned Bill Cosby. And again, he's been talking about this for years. So I just wanted to highlight that. So let's continue.
Now, It's pretty obvious why they didn't bring Harvey Weinstein. Well, if it's not obvious to you, just think about it. If you and you know what I'm going with this. If you don't, you're slow. But I had told you guys when they started bringing Harvey Weinstein name, I said that he crossed somebody. Now Harvey Weinstein have always been rumors about him being an a-hole, and there's always been rumors about him in women. And I'm not saying rape. I'm talking about that.
Oh, and let me stop for a second. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I'm not sure how many of you have Hulu, but I do know that there is a documentary on Harvey Weinstein on Hulu. I was about to check it out a couple of months, well, no, not a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago, around the time when it dropped. But I didn't even get through the first few minutes before I stopped it. And I think either I had something else going on or it was just too much at the time. So being that this particular case from the New York Supreme Court has been dismissed, it's like, do I still want to check it out or is it irrelevant now? So and let me know in the comments if you checked out that documentary on Hulu and what you thought about it.
That he slept with a bunch of women, and basically, there was a casting couch room, and everybody knew about the casting couch. I mean, ever since I was a kid, you heard about the thing called the casting couch, and I'm not going to sit here and defend it, or I'm not going to sit and criticize it, because right now there are men and women who go on dates. They expect certain things. Matter of fact, we see videos of women expecting guys to pay their bills, and some women say, "Well, if he paid my bill, I do this, I do that." And there's some women say, "Hey, I'm not doing this," even though you expect a guy to do certain things for you. I mean, let's just keep it
Right.
real. There's
Yeah.
always been this back and forth between men and women. And the thing is, people are more outraged about two adults, consenting adults, doing things than adults doing inappropriate things with children. We should be mad that a documentary came out about adults over at Nickelodeon, which is owned by Viacom, inappropriate things with kids. But y'all out here worried about grown ass women who willingly walk into these offices or these hotels, these homes with these men. And yes, there are women producers in Hollywood that do the same thing, but guys ain't running around saying, "Hey, this woman made me do this," and because men is viewed different when a man does it.
Right.
Because people think that men can't be victims of these casting couches. And yes, there are men who are victims of these casting couches who had to go through things with gay producers. This is why when Terry Crews had that incident with the guy when they grabbed his jump and people didn't respond because Hollywood is known to have these incidents with not only straight people but with gay people. But the thing is, Weinstein was the one that decided, hey, you and I here, you cross too many people, and you're gonna get sacrificed. But when you go back and listen to these allegations, he's like, wait a minute, it sounds like these women are butthurt, like this guy was flirting with these women, and they said we're gonna get you. And then the case where you probably could say, okay, maybe he did something, or maybe something's inappropriate. There was audio of him saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go take a shower. Or you're gonna come watch me, or you're gonna be here." And she said, "Well, I got to do this." That would have been a smoking gun right there.
Exactly.
And remember, they dismissed Ashley Judd case in New York and in California, and Rose McGowan. But I told y'all way back, I even said Kevin Spacey. I'm about to say Kevin Smith. I mean Kevin Spacey, excuse me. Kevin Spacey. I'm like, y'all listen. If y'all listen, I'm like, don't these things don't sound right.
Yeah, let me stop it right there. And like I said earlier, Harvey has been talking about this for years, and another name is Kevin Spacey. He's been saying this, and if you follow his channel and if you've been listening to his videos like I have been for the last few years, Harvey has been talking about this, and most of the time he is pretty accurate when it comes to his predictions, especially when it comes to cases like this and the media coverage and which way it's going to go. So Harvey's usually been on point about that.
I tell you, I said something just don't smell right with it. And I was right on all accounts, the Cosby and everything.
Yep.
And like I said, if R. Kelly got to be in jail, those parents, those record producers, everybody need to be in jail. But see, these cases only show the hypocrisy of people who have money and people in the legal system and people in the media.
Right.
Now, will Harvey Weinstein get a fair case in California? I don't think he will. Simple fact, because what happened in New York. Remember, they changed the laws in California. Remember, under former Governor Brown, they changed it. Remember, Gloria already pushed it. They changed it. That's why they was able to go out. They've been going after Cosby the way they've been able. They changed the laws. Now, personally, I think Hollywood needs to be cleaned up. It's a cesspool. And if you know, they didn't put no microphone in front of Lisa Bloom and Gloria Allred. You notice all the people that was out there, all that talking the last how many years, they didn't get in front of the cameras now. Why? Because guess what? A lot of people out here are starting to ask certain questions now, questions that should have been asked at the beginning of things. But my thing is where's all them black men and black women that was out there angry when Cosby was cleared? When he was.
And let me stop right there. So I just want to say before he goes forward, again, Harvey has been talking about the Cosby thing, pretty much since it started. So the only thing that I'll say about the Cosby situation is, and if this ruffle any feathers, it's all good. We can always agree to disagree. We can have a discussion, but I've largely agreed with pretty much everything that Harvey said about Cosby. I don't think he should have been charged. The cases should never have been brought up. And even when his charges were dismissed back in the summer of 2022, no, I'm sorry, 2021, the Supreme Court of Philadelphia should have dismissed it. And with that being said, you just have to either do your own research or really have to go back in Harvey's archives and listen to all of those videos regarding the Cosby trial. So that's my stance on it. And even then, when that came up, I mean, it was in the news, but it quickly went away, which surprised me. But I do remember being in Florida on a family trip at that time, and I seen a Washington Post notification come up on my phone that the Supreme Court of Philadelphia, the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, and I believe it is in Philadelphia, they dropped the case against Bill Cosby. I remember that. Now a few of my family members had something to say about that too, but I didn't really go into it that much. But yeah, that's my stance on it. Let's continue.
Got out of jail. And all them handkerchief head Negroes that was at MSNBC and CNN that was and other melanated people that was so outraged. Where were y'all at?
I remember
where y'all
that.
at? Y'all was so outraged. Y'all really, it's like y'all was trying to prove something to y'all masses that Bill Cosby, he's out of jail on a technicality. He wasn't a technicality. Obviously, they wasn't paying attention. I watched that day. It was in December, right before Christmas. I watched when they was talking about why they let him out of jail. It was no technicality. If it was a technicality, they would have went back and tried to fight it. You notice they didn't go back and fight it.
Exactly.
See what they did? They did the same thing to Harvey Weinstein, and they did the same thing to R. Kelly. The reason why R. Kelly is a different thing to a certain degree. They said we let Cosby get it. We're gonna let Weinstein. The other day, R. Kelly fight. They did not. They upheld it. And I think they said R. Kelly gonna go to the Supreme Court with his, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, there is a report out there. I think he is going to go to the Supreme Court with his case.
But he ain't gonna get out of jail. They said, "Nah, we let that." We O.J. Simpson went. We didn't get O.J. Simpson. He died, so we didn't get our pound of flesh from him. Cosby's walking free. We didn't get him. Michael Jackson, we didn't get him. He died, but we didn't get him. So R. Kelly, you're going to be the sacrificial. But Harvey Weinstein, he shouldn't have been in jail first. Because when you go back and look, you're like, that's why he in jail. I'm not defending him being a pervert or anything in the way. He was using his position, but he wasn't raping these women. He wasn't blackmailing these women. They willingly gave up that.
They sure did.
Using his position. He was a big boss. He's like, if you want this position, you're gonna do that. You're gonna give me some ass. If you don't want to give me some ass, hey. And these women willingly laid down and gave it to him.
And let me stop it right there. So now, again, I'll say this on my end. I'm not defending Harvey Weinstein either. I mean, anybody using that power like that, that's an abuse of power, a blatant abuse of power, whether it's a white man doing it or whether it's a white man doing it. Now, to the ladies in this case, we talking about grown adults here, grown ass women. So, with hindsight being 2020 or not, they made those decisions to, go further, because when you get a proposition like that, essentially saying, sleep with me or else, you have to make that decision as to whether you're going to go forward with that or not, and in a case like that, and I believe Harvey has said this too, furthering your career should not be, it should not be that, what's the best way to put it? It should not be that essential to what you're doing that you're willing to sleep with somebody to get far, but then years after the fact, you want to claim that you were violated, in which in most cases you were, but you still made the decision to go further with that when in all actuality, all you had to do was just say no and keep it moving. I mean, yes, one, to progress in your career and do other things is one thing, but is it really worth sleeping with somebody just to get there? I mean, you have to ask yourself that.
If you was that distraught, you thought you was that was so bad, you would have ran after him. You were like, I'm not doing this. So you did it. But once you start
Damn
aging
straight.
out, you hit the wall. Now all of a sudden, he did this to me. No, all the women that started accusing them back in the day, there was fantasy material for some dudes. There was the lead in these movies and shit. And when they started to go get Botox and start chopping their face up, not so much.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. I want to see all. I want to know why haven't any of these reporters that always got a microphone in front of the black comics and actors? Why was they Xing about Harvey Weinstein or any of these other white men over the years?
It's obvious.
Like every time you turn around, even to this day, somebody's still Xing about Bill Cosby. I haven't seen Brad X any of the black men or women that he interviewed about Harvey Weinstein, or Epstein, or any of the white men that he interviewed. But this past weekend, nobody interrupt program. Nobody stopped talking about it. But everybody's talking about Diddy. Everybody to this day still talking about R. Kelly and Cosby.
Yep. And now, if I remember correctly, even though it was just a few measly weeks ago, I want to say programming in certain areas was interrupted when the Diddy thing came about. I think that did happen. Now, I don't, like Harvey said, I don't recall any breaking news regarding Harvey Weinstein either. Maybe I missed it, but I think Harvey is on to something here.
See, white folk get on code, especially
they sure
identify with a particular religious belief.
They get on the code. They get on code in a heartbeat.
When Roman Polanski, they was talking about Roman Polanski, Harvey Weinstein said, they only doing it because he's
And imagine this. Imagine such a world where, white people, they instantly get on code in situations like this, but us as black people, specifically black men and black women, and I'm referencing last year, we can't even get on code about where we're going to take somebody on the first date or anything like that. Y'all remember the Cheesecake Factory and all that other nonsense from last year. We can't even get on code on the simplest things, and that remains a detriment to our community, like right now as we speak. Everybody else can get on code, but with us, it's always like pulling teeth for us to get on code about anything. We need to change that, y'all.
And it's true. They get caught red-handed doing shit, and people get on
Yep,
code.
they sure do.
I ain't see. I have not seen any Harvey Weinstein memes, but we got all kinds
And
of
we
memes
probably won't
about
see.
Diddy, Cosby, R. Kelly. I mean, and I'm sitting there, and a lot of the memes we even pass around, and a lot of these memes are not even being made. I'm not even being made by us.
And again, with that being said, like I said in previous videos, everything is a damn joke. When it comes to, and again, I'm not defending these people's actions, but when it comes to the names that he mentioned, R. Kelly, Diddy, and Bill Cosby, you want to make memes and turn them into jokes. But when it comes to Harvey Weinstein or powerful white men like that, you want to pump the brakes. It's a joke with everybody else, but with the white men, you don't want to touch them because it's too serious, or you're going to get dragged online for doing such a thing, right? Got it.
So I ask you, why don't we have that same energy for this dude? I'm not saying that he went and raped anybody, because if you guys go over and look over the transcripts and listen, like, wait a minute, it seemed like me, he was using his position to get some ass. He was doing what a lot of dudes have done over the years. He got power or some position. And these women are
Yep.
doing what a
Ain't
lot
just
of
him.
females do. They was using their bodies to get
Yep.
ahead.
Yep. Ain't nobody force them. That's
And the
real talk.
New York Supreme Court, they said, nah, you guys you screwed up. He didn't have a fair trial.
Right.
And I told y'all, I said, you got to overturn this shit. I said, there's nothing here. I'm not a fucking lawyer, and I saw that one. Like with Kevin Spacey, I knew the person was lying on Kevin Spacey. What it was Kevin Spacey. It was a shakedown on Kevin Spacey because he finally confirmed what people already knew, that he was gay. Cosby, what it was, you had some Negroes mad because Cosby called out certain behaviors in our community, which a lot of us have talked about over the years. And you had to ask yourself, why was a guy still angry about a speech that Cosby gave way back, what 2001, 2002? And then everybody's praising that brother. And then now that brother, nobody talks about. He was a useful idiot. That all the Negroes on cable news, all where they all at?
And I think the person that he's talking about is Hannibal Burris. I think that's who he's talking about. And again, he's done a lot of videos about that guy because he did that one stand-up going after Bill Cosby. And like Harvey has always said, overnight, it's like everything changed against Cosby, and it went down from there.
Goldie Taylor wrote an art. Where she at? She thought 2 years ago she was gonna go out there and she thought she was gonna gain favor with them by throwing the black community under the bus, calling black men anti-Semitic. She still ain't back on TV. John Lemon went out there and tap dance. And what did he do? He's on Bill Maher the night. Bill Maher's dismissive of him. Let me say this again. The media decides who they want to vilify, who they want to take care of. Yeah, they kept mentioning Harvey Weinstein's name, but they really haven't given Harvey Weinstein the treatment. But at the same time, I told y'all there was nothing here. That's why they overturned it. Now, in California, it may be a different story. They got a safe face in California. But my thing is that you had a documentary about the shit going on Nickelodeon. Who's the boss over at over the CBS? All that shit during that time. Les Moonves. While he was out there tripping on Janet Jackson, you had Snyder and Colton that fucking around with the kids, doing all kinds of perverted shit. But he got mad because somebody saw a nip from a black woman. Why you had them dudes over there molesting kids and acting out sexual perverted fantasies? But y'all wonder why I had made black men face of sexual perversion. And you had a bunch of handkerchief head coons like Wendy Williams. Look how Wendy Williams. Y'all went out here, y'all went out and look. God don't like it. Look at all these Negroes now. Either they dead, either they got health issues, or they lost loved ones, or they footnotes. Then nobody talks about them anymore. So you know, so God look, so I predicted a lot of this shit and it came true. But ask yourself, why nobody talking about this dude when they talk about Cosby when he was let out of jail? Now, Harvey Weinstein, he's still in jail. Don't get me wrong. He's still in jail. But why ain't nobody talking about the New York thing being overturned? Because the media, the very media because the media, they know, because guess what? Court of public opinion, the media went too far. Just like they doing right now, what's going on with these colleges. Because yesterday on The View, Whoopi Goldberg even said, she said, the media needs to be careful. Because y'all keep trying to make certain people victims when they're not. Y'all trying to make certain people villains when they're not. It's gonna blow back. I'm telling you, one of these days somebody gonna turn around and sue your ass. But I said, I knew, and I said they're gonna let this dude out, or they're gonna overturn it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this case should be overturned in California. Because when you go back and look at all this shit, I'm like, he got convicted in court of public opinion. And R. Kelly and Cosby got grounds to sue lifetime. Kamal Bell, I want to see if Kamal Bell gonna do a documentary on your Les Moonves and your Harvey Weinsteins, your Epsteins, your Matt Lawlers, and the rest of them.
Probably not.
It's funny how everybody got the slings and arrows ready for black men, but all these other dudes have been accused of a lot worse, or have a history of being accused of shit. Y'all get crickets. But you gotta ask yourself, why has nobody said anything? It's pretty obvious.
It sure is. All right. And again, shout out to Brother Harvey for that commentary. And I just wanted to make another couple of points before I close out this video. Going back to Harvey's content, he was saying as far back as 2017, when the Me Too movement became popular and the Time's Up movement became popular, where it seemed like it was the changing of the guard when it came to, women's role in society. Harvey was saying then that at a certain point, what they was going to do was it was going to pivot from powerful white men to black men. And that's exactly what happened, because as 2018 arrived, they started to go after, most black men in powerful positions, and he's always talked about what they tried to do with Morgan Freeman, and I remember how that went down, where basically it seemed like, I think there was a white woman and I think an Asian woman, they was on TV and they was trying to, drum up a controversy or something like that. And it was some black reporter, I can't recall which city, but there was a black reporter that knew Morgan Freeman, and it may or may not have been Gayle King, but somebody tried to interview her and get her to speak on Morgan Freeman, but she didn't take it there. And after that, it was pretty much dropped, never to be heard from again. So yeah, that's how it happens, and that's how it happened then. And Harvey was right on top of it too, and that's exactly what happened. It directly pivoted to black men, because the thought being, okay, we going after too many white men, so we got to get some brothers up in here somehow, some way, And then when it comes to things like this, it's simple. Not only is there an instance where they get on cold quick, but it's almost like with powerful rich white men, it's almost like it's not that serious. Even even with the thinking being, why would they do such a thing? Whereas when it comes to the brothers, somebody that look like me and somebody that possibly look like you, it's way more serious because society expects us to act with 100% esteem and class and grace, which is fine, but they expect that from us 24/7. Whereas the likes of Harvey Weinstein, they don't gotta expect nothing out of any of them cats because they know how they gonna act. They gonna act like they don't have any sense or morals or whatever. Whereas with black men and black women, for that matter, it's like, okay, we expect y'all to act a certain way, and if you don't act a certain way, yeah, we're gonna hold you account. But we don't expect nothing out of the likes of Harvey Weinstein because they just who they are. They're gonna be who they're gonna be. So, but we'll see what happens here. But I'm not surprised at the lack of coverage, and neither should you, because again, if it was anybody else, oh, trust me, it would be a worldwide news story. So, again, coming to the end of this video, like I said, shout out to Harvey at Your World. Keep them videos coming, brother. And until the next video, if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember the power of the mind is valuable.